Hello YouTube, this is a video response to the David Pakman Show video entitled #Gamergate. Will everyone hate this video? Hi David, I've enjoyed your interviews so far. I felt you've been relatively tough but fair, although your self-acknowledged progressive bias has been pretty clear as well. I had two problems with the video in question. The first is your use of the fallacy of relative privation. When you talk about how there are more important things in the world than video games and video game journalism, that is a fallacy. It doesn't mean that you can't talk about video games. It doesn't mean that video games are not important. And the fact is that for gamers, it is a very important issue because video games are their primary source of entertainment and for many of them, a core aspect of their identity. As a progressive, imagine if on the same day, every progressive news source declared that progressiveness is dead, and that all progressives are white misogynists. If being a progressive is part of your core identity, can you then understand why that might bother you? There's also the fact that many within Gamergate have identified a trend of people with radical feminists or progressive ideology. They're colloquially called social justice warriors, and these people are entering into spaces that are traditionally male-dominated and demanding that those spaces change to accommodate them. Many Gamergaters consider this to be a harmful trend and see Gamergate as a way of putting a stop to it. They point to Atheism Plus and the Occupy movement as two examples of past supposed SJW infiltration. The second problem I had with your video, and with all your videos really, is your presentation of Gamergate as an issue with two sides. This I feel is a mischaracterization of what is actually happening. This is not like climate change or abortion, for example, where there are two sides arguing about the same issue. With Gamergate, there's not even an agreement about what the two sides are arguing about. To me, this is really several separate issues. The first one, there were people concerned with SJW influence in gaming. These are the people who are most critical of Anita Sarkeesian in particular, and they have been active for years now. The second is the people that are angry about the game media response to that first group, which involves shutting down all discussion, accusing all those critical of Quinn and Sarkeesian of being sexist and misogynist, and conflating a few nasty trolls with all gamers. The second group, which often overlaps with the first, is the core of the Gamergate hashtag. This second group is largely made up of gamers who have been aware of ethical issues in games journalism for years, but only just now have become angry enough to actually do something about it. The third group involved here is what often gets called the anti-Gamergate side. These are the people pushing that narrative that conflates all gamers with individual trolls. These are the people who generally have not seen any important ethical issues in games journalism or have seen them and dismissed them. These people read the articles pushing the gamers equals misogynist narrative and not really knowing the full context took those articles at face value. So in summary, from what I've seen, there are three separate issues here. The first is social justice warrior influence on the gaming industry. The second is corruption and ethical concerns within gaming journalism. And the third is the idea that the first two issues are actually based on misogyny. What's muddying the waters in all this is that many people are concerned with both the first and second issue and end up using the Gamergate hashtag for both. There are also a ton of trolls who've been posting on both sides of this from the beginning. Trolls are drawn to controversy like moths to a flame. The reason certain people seem to be targeted more by these trolls is that trolls are also drawn to people from whom they can get a reaction. So if you're the type of person who is going to make tweets and videos about it whenever you receive harassment, you're also the type of person likely to be targeted more by trolls. Anyway, that's my take on your video. I'll note for full disclosure that I myself am not a gamer, but I'm certainly pro-Gamergate. I come at this with a concern for fairness and justice, and I have seen repeatedly that Gamergate has received neither. That's why I appreciate your videos. You've made a strong effort to be fair, but I think it's important that you understand the issues that I've seen, at least, in your presentation of Gamergate in your last video. So, thank you for listening. For anyone watching this, if you disagree with something I've said here, please leave a comment and we can discuss it. If you like the video, give it a like. If you want to see more videos like this, then subscribe. And again, thanks for listening, and I wish you all the best.